Well, come to my channel. Once again, closing arguments will be given, and after that, what is most important for this debate will happen. You, us, and the millions watching on the internet will get a chance to ask questions. So, we will try to take some questions from the people present here. We have set aside 30 minutes for that. This is how this 2-hour debate will be completed. There are 2 or 3 fundamental things we must keep in mind. We should not participate in any kind of sloganeering. This is not noise or chaos, because the whole world is watching. We have to maintain decorum and set an example that educated people, even when they agree or disagree, can still talk respectfully. Sitting here are my professors from JNU, including Professor Purushottam Agrawal, who taught us in class that it is important to have the courage to agree and the wisdom to disagree, and also the reverse of that when needed. Secondly, this is not a debate about any one religion. This must be very clear. This is not a debate to prove any religion superior or inferior. So if someone has come or is watching with that expectation, I assure you, you will leave disappointed. Even when it comes to the use of excessive religious symbolism, both the gentlemen sitting here who may look serious right now are actually very decent people. They met yesterday evening over tea, laughed together, even took a friendly picture with their arms around each other. This proves that compared to the uproar happening on the internet, both of them have agreed to debate here in a calm and respectable way. Let Twitter talk remain on Twitter. Elon Musk now calls it X, but let it stay there. Now, although these distinguished scholars do not need an introduction, journalism teaches us never assume, and science also says the same. Mufti Shamail Nadwi Sahab is an Islamic scholar and educator, founder of the Wahiyan Foundation in Kolkata, a graduate from the prestigious Darul Uloom Nadwatul Ulama in Lucknow, and active in teaching and intellectual work on social media and public platforms. Currently, he is pursuing his PhD from the International Islamic University, Malaysia. And interestingly, along with his studies, he also makes travel blogs. We saw his vlog in front of the Petronas Towers. With us is Javed Akhtar Sahab. He is a poet, lyricist, writer of prose, and has written dialogues and songs for films. He speaks openly about scientific thinking and his declared atheism and strongly advocates rationality. Ladies and gentlemen, does God exist? Everyone tries to find their own answer to this question. Some relate it to the search for the God particle. Some call it the Higgs boson. Some try to understand how mass came into existence. What existed before creation? What existed before time itself? And some ask, if all these discoveries happen inside the human brain, then how did this brain evolve in the natural order? I hope today we succeed in answering at least some of these fundamental questions. I first invite Mufti Shamail Nadwi Sahab to the stage. Please come, sir. I also request everyone to keep your phones on silent or light mode. Please check once, sometimes it happens unintentionally. All praise is for the Creator who created this universe with purpose. Respected Javed Akhtar Sahab, Mr. Saurabh Dwivedi, and respected audience. Thank you all for being here today. Since today we are debating the topic, does God exist? This is a subject where different standards can be used to reach any conclusion. So, at the beginning of the debate, it is important to decide which standards are valid and which are not. The first standard, which I believe our respected Javed Akhtar Sahab will quickly lean toward, is science. But In reality, science cannot directly prove or disprove the existence of God. And this is not something I am saying myself. This is what experts in science say. The National Academy of Sciences says, science does not have the processes to prove or disprove the existence of God. Why? Because science deals with empirical evidence, and empirical evidence belongs to the natural and physical world, whereas God is a non physical and supernatural reality. Therefore, you cannot examine a non physical reality with tools meant to examine physical reality. So, in today's debate, scientific evidence will not be accepted to prove or deny the existence of God. The second possible standard could be revelation, that we prove God's existence through revelation. But this standard is also irrelevant today. Why? Because revelation for me is a valid source of knowledge, but for Javed Akhtar Sahab, it is not a valid source of knowledge. Therefore, I will not present any evidence today from any religious scripture so that nothing appears unacceptable to him. The third standard could be observation, such as someone saying, "Show us God if he exists," or provide empirical evidence for God's existence. But this is using the wrong tool. It is like Javed Sahab demanding that I detect plastic using a metal detector. And when plastic is not detected, he says plastic does not exist. No, you are using the wrong tool. Metal detectors do not detect plastic. So, I believe demanding empirical evidence for God's existence is a childish demand, and our respected Javed Akhtar Sahab has moved far beyond such demands. So, only one standard remains: intellect, logic, reasoning. And this is the standard under which God's existence should be proved or denied. But since this is a very important and sensitive topic, the logical argument must be definitive, not vague. It should be as clear as 2 plus 2 equals 4, something that cannot be logically rejected. For example, if we say our respected Mr. Saurabh is a human being, and all human beings are conscious beings, then logically Saurabh Sahab is also a conscious being. Is this a vague argument or a definite argument? It is definite, clear, like 2 plus 2 equals 4. It cannot logically be rejected. So, if today Javed Akhtar Sahab presents any logical argument against God's existence that is definite and irrefutable, then I declare in advance that I will accept it and reflect upon it seriously. But I also predict that no one will be able to present such a definite argument. We will present arguments definitive, logical arguments which the entire atheistic world will not be able to refute. Now, let us imagine a simple example. Suppose we are on an isolated island where no one has ever gone before. While walking, we suddenly find a pink-colored ball. What is the first question that comes to mind? How did this ball come here? Why is it here? Why is it pink? It could have been another color. Why is it in this particular shape? It could have been another shape. Naturally, you conclude that someone must have created this ball with specific properties and placed it here because you know this ball did not have to exist. It could have existed or not existed, and even if it existed, it could have existed in another form or color. Now expand this ball, expand it until it becomes as large as the universe. Does the question change just because the size changed? Not at all. The question still remains: where did this universe come from? Why does it have these specific properties? Who made it? If we ask this question to Javed Akhtar Sahab, since his worldview is atheistic, and this applies to atheists generally, their answer will either be an argument from ignorance or dogmatic. They will say, I don't know where it came from, therefore God does not exist. That is an argument from ignorance. Or they will say, the universe created itself automatically, which would imply the ball should also create itself automatically, but no one accepts that explanation for the ball, yet accepts it for the universe. That is dogma. Javed Akhtar Sahab will also surely bring up God of the Gaps, saying that earlier people attributed thunder, rain, etc. to different gods because they lacked explanations. But this is not our worldview at all. Just because we understand the natural processes behind phenomena, how does that prove God does not exist? I will discuss this further, God willing. You will also see, and I expect that respected Javed Akhtar Sahab will bring emotional arguments, which are logical fallacies when deciding truth. For example, he may say, if God exists, why does evil exist? Whereas I say the existence of evil is actually evidence for God's existence, not against it, because if God exists, then we are accountable to Him. And for accountability to exist, evil must also exist. Accountability must exist. Without it, we cannot be held responsible. And if we are not accountable, then we will ask Mr. Censure for Sayings for Sanction, Javed Akhtar, kindly tell us, then why is there suffering in this world? If there is no God, then why does suffering exist? And what about those people who suffer greatly, develop a spirit of justice or the desire for retribution inside them, but leave this world without ever seeing justice? Will all their pain just go to waste? Now, let us return to that example of the ball. If someone asks me, who made this ball? Or who made this expanded ball? I will say, because this universe and everything in it is contingent. Contingent means something whose existence depends on something else. Clearly, this universe is contingent. And if there is something that is not contingent, then I request someone to please show it to me. Show me what in this universe is not contingent so that we can also reflect upon it. And when contingent things exist, then according to philosophical terminology, we reach a point, a being, which is called the necessary being. A necessary being is one whose non-existence is impossible, because if it did not exist, then nothing else would ever come into existence. All contingent things depend on it. Now, if someone asks, who created that being? What is its cause? And what is its cause? And continues endlessly. This is what we call infinite regress of causes, which is a logical fallacy. Conceptually, infinity is possible. For example, numbers you can keep counting 1, 2, 3 infinitely. Conceptually, that's fine. But I am not speaking conceptually. I am talking about practical reality. Show, in reality, that an infinite chain of actual causes is possible. If you can prove it is possible, we will accept it. Give an example. If it is not possible, then only one option remains, the necessary being. A necessary being is independent because if it depends on something, it cannot be necessary. It must be eternal because if it has a beginning, then it is contingent. It must be powerful because to actualize contingent things, power is required. It must be intelligent and knowledgeable because this universe runs precisely according to specific forms and laws of nature. Thank you. Thank you, Mufti Sahab. After these arguments, I request Javed Akhtar Sahab. Would you like to speak while sitting? Yes. First, I would like to give Mufti Sahab some good news. My knowledge of science is very ordinary, so you don't have to worry about that. But I do have some common sense. Look, the concept of God is not new. It has existed for centuries. Some religions may be 3,000 or 4,000 years old, but humans have existed as Homo sapiens for 10,000 to 12,000 years, and religion has always existed in some form. These religions were not created by ignorant people. These were religions of Greek society, where great philosophers were born. These were religions of Egyptians, who built pyramids. These were religions of Romans, whose architecture and senate became the foundation of the first democracy limited, but still, democracy. Very capable people followed these religions. They had gods like Jupiter, Ra, Zeus, and they believed in them with as much certainty as a religious person today believes in his God. Before Christianity, there was a Germanic religion in Europe. It had a god, his wife, two sons, and a daughter. But when Christianity came, that god, his wife, and the entire family disappeared. So, if we study history, we see that gods usually prove to be temporary, they do not always remain. And the people who believed in them, you cannot dismiss them as ignorant. They were capable, intelligent, and accomplished people of their time philosophers, scientists yet. Where did their gods go? Today, people believe in different gods, but who knows what will happen a few centuries from now? Look at Europe, churches are empty. With time, things change. As for religion, every religion demands one thing from you: faith. What is faith? What is the difference between faith and belief? It would be foolish for someone to say, if God exists, show him to me. That is ignorance. I have never seen the North Pole, but I believe it exists. Why? Because logically, the Earth must have a top. People have gone there. There is evidence. There are witnesses. There is reason. That is belief, not faith. So, what is faith? Faith means there is no witness, no evidence, no reason, no logic, no proof, yet you must accept it. If there were evidence, it would be belief, not faith, just like my belief in the North Pole. Faith rejects all these requirements. Then, what is stupidity? Stupidity is when I accept something that has no logic, no reason, no proof, no witness, yet I insist on believing it. That is stupidity. For example, if tomorrow I suddenly start believing that Elon Musk is my brother, I will feel great happiness and comfort. But if someone asks, what proof do you have? He is American, you're Indian, different nationality. You've never even met him. And I reply, look, it's my faith. This is what faith means, something you cannot prove. Ultimately, every religion rests on faith. And faith means a belief without evidence, logic, or proof. Then you ask, who created the universe? Strangely, you gave the example of going to an island and seeing a ball. You wondered who made the ball, but you never asked, who made the island? You were only surprised by the ball, not the island. Islands exist, we take them for granted. In the same way, stars, galaxies, the universe, these are like islands. We don't ask who made them. How was I born? Was I planned? Or was I just a lucky sperm that happened to connect? My birth is random. Nature has nothing to do with justice. Justice is a human concept. In nature, there is no justice. If a lion eats a deer, the lion is not punished. If a storm comes and destroys flourishing trees, storms are not jailed. Nature operates without justice. It doesn't need justice. Justice is something humans invented like traffic rules. Left-hand drive is not natural. Humans made it. Truth, goodness, morality, these are like left-hand driving rules. Without them, society crashes. Lies, corruption, bribery, these are like driving on the wrong side. These are human constructs. So, religions promising justice in the afterlife proves they are man-made. Nature has no such concept. Some people say nature itself is God, but nature has no justice. Yet religions promise justice after death. If I do get justice, I will be happy, but I cannot believe it because I cannot create faith. The very fact that religions demand faith means they do not have justification. Yes, religion, in moderation, may produce some good qualities in people, just like alcohol. In America, a survey once found that people who drink 2 measured drinks with meals live longer than those who drink too much or don't drink at all. Yet we still consider alcohol bad. Why? Because alcohol grows like cancer. It increases. Nobody becomes a milk addict, but people become alcoholics. Religion has the same tendency. It grows, spreads, and becomes extreme. Some people may use religion correctly. I'm sure Mufti Sahab is among them. I enjoyed meeting him. But how many people are like that? Look at the destruction in the world, how much of it is done by people acting in the name of religion. Religion may not explicitly tell them to do so, but like alcohol, once consumed, it influences behavior. Anyway, my time is up. I had nothing more to say. Now we move to the rebuttal round. I invite Mufti Sahab for his response. You have 6 minutes. Thank you very much, Javed Sahab. We truly enjoyed listening to you. You understand Masuz? We enjoyed it. Okay, now let us look at things logically. Yesterday, we had requested both Mufti Sahab and Javed Sahab to speak in simple, common Hindi so everyone can understand, and wherever difficult words are used, please explain them. Thank you. Our respected Javed Sahab mentioned that God is mortal because many religions came and went. Some people believed Jupiter was God, others believed in something else. I say, whoever took a contingent thing as God made a mistake that is not God. That is not God at all. We are here to prove the necessary being, that necessary cause, which is eternal, everlasting, and without beginning. We are not here to prove anything else. The second thing he said was about faith and belief. This definition of faith that he presented is not something new, or forgive me, he did not present it for the first time. Richard Dawkins presented it first. I know where the source is. Epistemologically, you cannot differentiate between faith and belief in the way you did, sir. Faith can be right and faith can be wrong. Belief can be right and belief can be wrong. The faith that is supported by logic, reason, and evidence is correct faith. And the kind of faith you are talking about that is illogical and unsupported, on that, we are on the same page. We do not accept that kind of faith either. Any faith that has no logic or evidence behind it, we do not accept it. We believe in that faith which has logic and evidence behind it. So, belief can be right or wrong. Faith can be right or wrong. Today, the discussion is not about the difference between faith and belief. Whether you accept faith or belief today, the question is, what is truth? Whether it is true faith or true belief, and what is false faith and false belief, that is what we are discussing. Then he asked, what is stupidity? If faith and religion are not stupidity, then what is? Because religion demands faith, then what is stupidity? I say stupidity is atheism. And the reason is this. Imagine you are walking on a road and you enter a garden. There you see flowers arranged to form the words, I love Javed Akhtar, and I really do, sir. Now, when you see this, would you say, wow, what a natural selection? Would you say this is some random natural selection? No, it is precisely designed. There is a designer behind it. So, if someone rejects something as simple and common sense as this, that this universe works with such precision and still says it came into existence by itself, then I think there is nothing more foolish than that. That is irrational. Then our respected sir said that I focused on the ball and not the island. But who created the island? That is exactly why I gave the example of the ball. The ball is contingent. The island is contingent. Both require a necessary being. Then he said there is no justice in nature, and humans decide what morality is, just like traffic laws and driving rules no God declared them. This is what we call false equivalence. It is a logical fallacy. The example you gave is of subjective morality. You cannot use subjective morality as an analogy and impose it on objective morality. Justice is objective morality. If you say there is no justice in nature, then injustice being natural means nature should remain nature. So, why do we humans strive so hard to bring justice into the world? That would be illogical and irrational. There are many things that are objectively good or evil, and many things that are subjective. Subjective morality is decided through social consensus or personal preference. But objective morality, which includes justice that you repeatedly mentioned, is objective, not subjective. And if you say it is subjective, then I ask you, if through social consensus oppression is declared right, would you justify oppression? Then he said about alcohol, if you drink 2 pegs, it doesn't stay two, it grows. Religion is like that. If you take 2 pegs, it increases. This is an analogy you can fit anywhere. Apply it to atheism. When you take 2 pegs of atheism, it grows and eventually becomes North Korea. Thank you. Now I invite Javed Sahab for his rebuttal of the first round. You have 7 minutes. Please reset the timer. I am happy that Mufti Sahab has admitted that there is no justice in nature. So anything not made by humans does not contain justice. Let me tell you something interesting. When you go to a garden and see those beautiful flowers, none of them are actually natural. They are all created by humans through crossbreeding. The flowers in forests are very ordinary. These beautiful flowers you admire are human made, developed through breeding different flowers together. They are not natural flowers. Go into a wild forest, you won't see such roses. Humans created them. Humans have created many such things. But you did not answer one of my questions, and I am disappointed by that. What is faith, and why do you demand faith from me? You say you are logical. You have all the reasons and evidence. Then why do you demand faith from me? Why do you say, surrender, don't question? No, religion allows endless questioning. Every religion says, do not question too much, otherwise you will be lost. Why do you stop people? The truth is, human history has always had 2 kinds of people: those who worship their ignorance and those who fought against their ignorance and tried to learn. Today, you are amazed at how the universe exists. Once upon a time, people were amazed at where the sun goes when it sets. But instead of moving one step forward to investigate, you freeze everything by saying, This eternal power has always existed. Accept it and don't question. Why don't you say the same about the universe? Maybe it always existed, or we don't know. And saying we don't know is a very honest and humble statement. But religions, they know everything: how the world was created, how it will end, what happens after death. They know everything, but none of them knew dinosaurs existed. In no religious scripture do you find dinosaurs mentioned, but they know everything else, like how to make a universe in 4 easy lessons. Those who claim to know everything are the real problem. We need humility to admit there are many things we do not know. But instead of investigating, people chose to worship their ignorance. This hall, this electricity, this mic, the airplane you came in, the car you traveled in, all of these exist because people asked questions. At every stage of history, questioning was discouraged, called wrong or sinful. You should read history. And science versus religion is an old conflict. Even steam engines were opposed, and religious authorities issued verdicts against them. Even today, when religious right wing groups come into power, they suppress scientific research. Why so much fear? Once religious people were furious that humans were trying to create humans. Why are you afraid? Let them try. What is the fear? Today, the things that shock you one day, they will seem simple. That is how human history works. Don't rush to make final judgments. Have humility to say, we don't know how far the universe extends, how long it has existed, or how long it will exist. But you have already made final decisions. You say, it was created 14 billion years ago, and before that, God just sat silently for billions of years doing nothing. Then one day, he decided to make a universe? How strange. It is very easy to believe something someone told people 2,000 plus years ago and keep believing it forever, even when the world has changed and knowledge has evolved. Science never claims to know everything. In fact, the more we learn, the more we realize how much we still don't know, how little we actually know. So, we should fight against our ignorance and reflect on it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I invite Mufti Sahib again for round 2 in the chain of arguments. You once again have 7 minutes. Thank you. Respected Javed Akhtar Sahib has repeatedly been asking, tell me the meaning of faith. Tell me the meaning of faith. I've already said it. Faith can be right and it can be wrong. And today we are not discussing faith. Today we are discussing truth and whether God exists. Does God exist? This is the real question: whether God exists or does not exist. Which of these two statements is true? Now, whether you call it faith or belief, that's not my concern. After that, you said religion stops people from asking questions. I say maybe some do, but I don't. In fact, questions should be asked. We progress through questioning. That is why I am here today. But questioning should not only be directed at God, it should also be directed towards you, towards atheism as well. We will question everyone today, and I hope you will answer. Till now, you have not answered the contingency argument. You said, why don't we call the universe eternal? Because logically, it is not possible. The universe is contingent. It is bound by time and space. Whatever is bound by time and space is contingent. Whatever is contingent must have had a beginning, and whatever had a beginning cannot be eternal. This is a simple logical point. You said religious books never mention dinosaurs. Unfortunately, I have never found dinosaurs mentioned in a mathematics book either. Does that make math useless? No, because that is not its subject. The purpose of revelation and religion is not to tell you how bicycles are made or when dinosaurs existed. It teaches morality, talks about God, and explains non physical reality. Religion does not stop science. If anyone tries to stop science, they are wrong. Religion rejects scientism, not science. Scientism is when you believe science is the only source of knowledge. We reject that. Then you mentioned Vatican fatwas. Vatican and fatwas are contradictory terms. You also said, we don't know. If you don't know, then simply say, you don't know. But why claim that God does not exist? Say you don't know, maybe he exists, maybe he doesn't. But when you say God does not exist, that itself is a claim, and then the burden of proof is also on you, just like it is on us. You asked what God was doing before creating the universe. Terms like before, after, earlier, and later all relate to time. Time began with the beginning of the universe. So, asking what God was doing before the creation of time is illogical. Regarding the God of the gaps science fills will always be filled with contingent things, whether matter, force, or energy. So, our question will remain valid until you reach a necessary being. Infinite regress of causes is not practically possible. Wherever you stop, that is what we call God. Next, you said, when the universe didn't exist, how could time not exist? God existed, so existence was there. If God existed, then time must have existed. It cannot be that nothing existed. God was there. You also said that religion makes people better. So look at the world map. Mark the most religious areas: Latin America, the Middle East, the Far East, Indian regions where religiosity is highest. Then take another map showing where injustice, repression, women's rights violations, and dictatorship are most widespread. The maps will mostly overlap. Then tell me, what is the practical benefit of this medicine called God? Even a medicine bottle tells you how to use it. What benefit has this concept brought? Those who believe in God, are they really just and fair? Have they become better human beings? What benefit has faith given? If it had great benefit, I too would accept it. But I don't see any. In fact, if a religious person is good, I respect him even more than a non religious good person, because I believe it is harder for a religious person to be good. Everything has a limit how much you can run, lift, see. In the same way, goodness also has a quota. A religious man goes to his place of worship in the morning, performs rituals, and feels he has done something great. A huge part of his goodness quota is consumed in something from which nobody benefits. I don't go, so I must help a poor widow, feed someone, do something useful to consume my quota. Religious people spend their quota in completely useless acts. If you still have even a little decency left in you, then wow, that's impressive. One thing I truly appreciate is that both scholars are respecting time. They present their arguments within the time limit and sometimes even finish earlier and take their seats. This completes round 2 of the argument. Now we move to rebuttal round 2, and after that, there will be cross-examination. No, sir, your argument time is over. In our school syllabus, we study Premchand's story Panch Parmeshwar. Don't worry, I won't let you miss any round. Rebuttal round 2, Mufti Shamail Nadwi Sahab. The real problem is that Mr. Javed does not have a clear concept of God. He said that if God existed before the universe, then time must also have existed, whereas the universe itself is a part of time. We believe in a God whose timeless existence is necessary because he is the creator of time. If he created time, how can he himself be bound by time? If he created space, how can he be confined to space? If he is already limited by time and space, then what did he actually create? So the question, if God existed, then time must have existed too, is logically wrong. We are bound by time, not God. We belong to the physical world. He is a metaphysical reality. Another thing, he gave an example of a teapot rotating in space, probably quoting Bertrand Russell. This is exactly the problem we fail to differentiate between things. His example is imagination. What I am proving is logical necessity. If you want to imagine, you can imagine anything pink elephants on Jupiter or unicorns, but that doesn't prove logical necessity. I am talking about a prime cause, a necessary being without whom the existence of the universe is impossible. Another issue he raised was that religion is challenged by science, but that is not even our topic. If I start talking about it, my time will be wasted. Our discussion is not about religion versus science. Our worldview does not oppose science, it criticizes scientism. I already explained this earlier. Then he said, take a world map. So I did my homework. I took a map of the Middle East, a religious region, and a map of Europe, a liberal and atheist region. According to UN reports, the highest number of rape cases are there. Also, around 81% of working women in European countries face workplace sexual harassment. This is not happening in the Middle East. It is not happening because they are religious. You also said that it is very difficult for a religious person to be good compared to us being good. This means that you already have a standard of good and evil without God. I want to discuss this further. Thank you very much. This was rebuttal round 2. Now you have 5 minutes, after which we will begin cross-examination. If you wish, you can answer his questions in your rebuttal as well. Yes. First of all, this example is not wrong. It is wrong. He dismissed us earlier, saying, reason cannot solve this matter, logic cannot reach there. It's metaphysical. Metaphysical is such a strange word. Most people don't even truly know what it means, yet it sounds like something huge. What is metaphysical? Explain it. Don't just throw the word around. If you are debating me, prove it logically. If you cannot argue logically and keep saying it is metaphysical, then what are we even debating for? You also say that time did not exist before, yet you also say God has always existed and will always exist. Always implies time. If time doesn't exist, how can you say always? Now, let's look at another point. You said there are more rapes there, but look at this world where God is supposed to be all powerful, where not even a leaf moves without his will. How is this world running and in what condition? 45,000 children under the age of 10 died in Gaza. Children die of hunger, of diseases like diphtheria. He is all powerful and can do anything. That's why you pray to him to fix things in your life. That means he interferes in daily life. So he is watching all this. If he truly exists, even for the sake of argument, when I look at the world, I feel no respect for such a God. What are you doing? You are all powerful, omnipotent, omnipresent. You were there in Gaza. You saw children being blown apart, and yet you want me to praise you? If he really exists, it's embarrassing. Even our prime minister at least tries to help. Whom are you worshiping? The world is full of injustice, cruelty, oppression, and violence. Don't say he is only watching and will tell us later. If he's watching and not interfering, why pray at all? You pray for jobs, marriages, visas. So if he can do all that, could he not at least save dying children? Do something at least. Looking at this world, it doesn't seem like there is any omnipotent ruler of it. And if there is, then that's something to be ashamed of. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, both argument rounds and both rebuttals are now complete. Now begins the most important and most difficult round cross-examination. This will also be a test of the scholar's grace. We have allocated 16 minutes. Sir, you may ask the first question. Yes, thank you. Since this is cross-examination, my first question is regarding what I have been explaining through the contingency argument. Do you consider an infinite regress of causes possible, or do you consider the existence of a necessary being correct? There are only two options. Tell us. Honestly speaking, I don't properly understand the word contingency, and even now, some of the English philosophical terms you used are complicated for me. So please ask in simpler language. Sure, everything in the universe is dependent for its existence on something else, so it must have a cause. Do you think this chain of causes can go on infinitely without end? Because logically, then, nothing would ever come into existence. So, infinite regress is not possible. You must stop somewhere, at a necessary being. There is no need to stop anywhere. Why must we stop? You stop at God. Why can't we say the universe or multiverse has always existed? There are black holes, the universe collapses, then expands again. We humans are nothing in comparison. We live 50, 60 years in a universe that is billions of years old. The universe, and we were born in it for extremely meaningless reasons. So, thinking about why it exists and what its purposes are is all based on assumptions. We are only observing it. Who really knows the truth? Think about this. This universe that is expanding, where is it expanding to? Where is it going? And why is it expanding? You already created it, right? Then stop it there. That much was enough for us. Why is it still expanding? And which universe are we talking about? The one I see through a telescope that is 2 billion light years away? That has nothing to do with me. 2 billion light years means that even if I travel at 80,000 miles per second, I will reach there in 200 million years. What was the need for that? This world, this universe, it is said that it was created for humans, the noblest of creation. So all of this is for humans, right? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that if you don't know the reason behind something, then there is no reason. That simply means I don't know, but it is not my responsibility. Bertrand Russell said it absolutely right. You brushed him aside jokingly, but you are the one making the claim. Why should I prove your claim wrong? You prove it right. The responsibility is not on me. I never claimed anything. You prove that your claim is correct. Now, would you like to answer the argument of contingency? Or would you like to ask any question to Mufti Sahab? Because this is the cross-examination round. Earlier you were talking about faith, so I want to ask, whatever revelations God has supposedly given, they were not just in one religion, but in many. There are different revelations with contradictions between them. In some religions, some things are allowed. In others, they are forbidden. It is not as if all religions have the same moral code. So, what is this story? Sometimes I feel like during a football final, When there are hundreds of thousands of people in the stadium and millions watching on TV, if at that moment God's powerful voice suddenly echoed saying, I am God, then everyone would hear it. TV would broadcast it, and the matter would be finished. Why so much secrecy? Give us some solid proof. You say, how was the universe created? But how does that solve anything? I will then ask you, how was God created? Why shouldn't I ask that? How was He created? And He is supposed to be far more intelligent than the universe, far more powerful, and you say He has always existed, and I should just accept that? Secondly, you call Him omnipotent, meaning He can do anything. He can get you a job. He can arrange a good marriage for you. He can make you win your neighbor's court case. He does everything. So, how is He running this world? Look at the condition of this world. Don't you find it shocking? Will justice only happen after the day of judgment? When that child who was blown to pieces by a bomb is already dead? Will he get justice then? All right. Now, may I answer? Yes, I will now respond. First, you spoke about revelations and scriptures. I can talk about that in detail, but not today because time is short. We can discuss that some other day. I am ready to talk about it. Today, the topic is the existence of God, so I will stick to that. You said I haven't proven anything, whereas the argument of contingency is a fundamental philosophical argument. Let me explain what contingency means. Anything whose existence depends on something else, anything that is bound by conditions, anything that needs something else to exist, it must have a cause. This is simple reason and logic. And you talk about logic, I am doing exactly that. You also said, what do I have to do with something billions of light years away? Then I think you should not say, I think, therefore I am an atheist. If you truly want to think, don't think only within a limited circle. Think beyond it. You also raise multiple issues together, like the problem of evil, and you keep repeating that God is omnipotent. That is exactly what you need to understand. What is the real concept of God? The problem of evil is actually based on two false assumptions. First false assumption, God is only merciful and only powerful, and therefore, if evil exists, it is contradictory. But according to our belief, God is not only all powerful and merciful, He is also all wise and all knowing. There is wisdom behind everything He does. It is not necessary that you or I must understand that wisdom. Judging everything from your limited perspective is flawed reasoning. In daily life, we accept this principle. When we go to a doctor and he prescribes medicine, we don't say, until I have the same knowledge as you, I won't accept your treatment. No, we trust his knowledge and expertise. Interruption. But a doctor is a visible, educated person. We can listen to him. God is different. Please, if you keep talking to the audience, there can be no debate. I am giving an example to explain. Your second false assumption is that there can be no good reason for the existence of evil. But we do have reasons. If there were no evil, how would you define good? If there were no injustice, how would you understand justice? If there were no darkness, how would you value light? We have come into this world for a test. Everyone is tested in different ways, and the presence of evil is part of that test. If I give a student a paper where only the correct answer exists, then what kind of test is that? Meaningless. So, yes, good and evil both exist. God created the system in which evil exists as a test. But that does not make God evil, just like the person who makes a knife is not guilty. The one who misuses it is guilty. Rape, murder, injustice, these are results of human free will. If someone commits rape, that is not God's fault. He abused his free will. He will be punished. Hell exists for such people. You say, 7 billion free wills are moving on this planet, and if someone kills me, then did I die by God's will or by free will? The answer is God created the system of free will. Someone misused it and killed you. That person is responsible and will be punished. So saying God gives life and death is not contradictory. He created the system, the laws, and the consequences. And if you say there is no God, then how will you explain evil, morality, justice, and accountability at all? How will you decide evil? Meaning, how can you objectively define evil without God? Tell us, how do you define evil? Look, in the world there are two kinds of animals. Some live alone in the jungle, and some live in groups. Anyone who lives in a group, whether it is your foundation, a club, a political party, or any unit rules must be made for interaction. Meaning, people will decide. People will decide. So, if people decide that committing rape is acceptable, will you justify it? No. But that means your foundation is that people will decide what is evil. No, there are groups in the world who actually consider rape justified in certain situations. I won't go into details. You also know, those ISIS people, what did they do? What they did has nothing to do with God, sir. My question was simple. How do you define evil? Let's come back. You can only live together when you develop certain principles where everyone has basic protection, everyone has basic rights, and everyone gets some comfort. This is how any organization with more than one person runs. If you create disorder in it, there will be destruction, loss, and ruin. Take a simple example of a home. There is a husband, wife, children, mother, two sisters, and a brother. Even there, you need a system to live together, to trust each other, to care for each other, and to help one another. This is how life works. Sir, so now your point is this. People will decide what is right and wrong. The majority will decide what is right and wrong, right? Yes, absolutely. If the majority decides something is right, then it becomes right. Why don't you accept it? Hello, the cross question round ends here. It's good that it has been structured like this, otherwise, the temperature keeps rising. Most people on this planet believe in God, and not just your religion's God. Different religions believe in different gods. Yet, you don't believe. But you say the majority decides right and wrong. So, whatever majority decides becomes right? Fine, we will follow the same standard you yourself suggested. Brother, I trusted sensible people and agreed to proper moderation. You have 5 minutes now. This is your closing argument. After that, we'll take audience questions. Thank you very much. Our topic was, does God exist? I came here prepared academically. I thought I would give many arguments. But because of time shortage and because Javed Saeed kept drifting here and there, I had to entertain that as well. So, regarding does God exist, I could only give one argument. There are many more strong, definitive arguments, and in not even a single round did he engage with my argument or refute it. Not even once. And, sir, Just now, your closing argument will come. You can say it then. The argument of contingency, sir. I've explained it many times. How much simpler should I make it? Never mind, let me complete. Second thing, you didn't give a definitive argument for God not existing. You kept talking about religion. But religion was not today's topic. You went from religion to ISIS. What relation do we have with them? We condemn them. And what connection do they have with God? If someone commits murder or rape, they should be punished. But you have no rational, strong foundation for morality. You said the majority decides. So Hitler becomes right? No, no, not society. The planet's majority. Fine, the planet's majority believes God exists. You say religion is wrong, so you still have no strong foundation for objective morality. If there is any foundation for objective morality, it is only God. God, God. This was Mufti Shamail Nadwi's closing argument. Now Javed Akhtar Sahib has 5 minutes for his closing argument. Reset the time. Look, there are many things. The definition of God in almost every religion is that He is all-powerful, He is present, He is just, He is kind, He loves you, and so on. When I look at the world, I do not see any supreme power working for human welfare, protecting the weak, stopping the oppressor. I don't see it in history either. So if God exists and He is just watching this spectacle, then His existence or non-existence is the same. Secondly, when you say the universe is contingent, then you immediately surrender and assume its creator must be thousands of times more complex, and you have no objection to his existence. He is timeless, already there before time, etc. You accept all this without any proof and without reason. And the greatness of religions is what? Their belief in God has constantly been proven wrong over time. If you say people in Aristotle's time were ignorant, well, they were just as confident about God then as believers are today. This belief will also fade. You can write it down. The signs are already visible in the world. Could such a debate have happened openly 100 years ago? We have already brought you this far. Religion is a whole package. No one believes only in God alone. It always comes with a lot of extra baggage. And historically, religion has always created chaos in society. I will say something simple. There are 10 major religious beliefs in the world. You believe in one and reject the other 9. So, in those 9 cases, you think exactly like an atheist. So, a religious person is already 90% atheist. He only believes his God is right and all others are wrong. If you stop believing even in that one, then instead of a 10% chance of being right, you'll at least have a 50% chance you'll gain 40% by becoming an atheist. This belief system is outdated. It is fading. Maybe not in my lifetime, but it will disappear. All these grand metaphysical, philosophical words, these came from people who neither knew physics nor metaphysics, and yet they gave you such ideas. Thank you very much to both speakers. How will you decide evil? Meaning, how can you objectively define evil without God? Tell us, how do you define evil? Look, in the world there are 2 kinds of animals. Some live alone in the jungle, and some live in groups. Anyone who lives in a group, whether it is your foundation, a club, a political party, or any unit rules must be made for interaction, meaning people will decide. People will decide. So, if people decide that committing rape is acceptable, will you justify it? No? But that means your foundation is that people will decide what is evil. No, no. There are groups in the world who actually consider rape justified in certain situations. I won't go into details. You also know. Those ISIS people, what did they do? What they did has nothing to do with God, sir. My question was simple. How do you define evil? Let's come back. You can only live together when you develop certain principles where everyone has basic protection, everyone has basic rights, and everyone gets some comfort. This is how any organization with more than one person runs. If you create disorder in it, there will be destruction, loss, and ruin. Take a simple example of a home. There is a husband, wife, children, mother, two sisters, and a brother. Even there, you need a system to live together, to trust each other, to care for each other, and to help one another. This is how life works. Sir, so now your point is this. People will decide what is right and wrong. The majority will decide what is right and wrong, right? No, no, not society's majority. The planet's majority will decide. So, if the planet's majority believes in God's existence, why don't you accept it? Hello? Hello, the cross question round ends here. It's good that it has been structured like this. Otherwise, the temperature keeps rising. Most people on this planet believe in God, and not just your religion's God. Different religions believe in different gods, yet you don't believe. But you say the majority decides right and wrong, so whatever the majority decides becomes right. Fine, we will follow the same standard you yourself suggested. Brother, I trusted sensible people and agreed to proper moderation. You have 5 minutes now. This is your closing argument. After that, we'll take audience questions. Thank you very much. Our topic was, does God exist? I came here prepared academically. I thought I would give many arguments, but because of time shortage and because Javed Sahib kept drifting here and there, I had to entertain that as well. So, regarding does God exist, I could only give one argument. There are many more strong, definitive arguments. And in not even a single round did he engage with my argument or refute it, not even once. And, sir, just now your closing argument will come. You can say it then. The argument of contingency, sir. I've explained it many times. How much simpler should I make it? Never mind, let me complete. Second thing, you didn't give a definitive argument for God not existing. You kept talking about religion, but religion was not today's topic. You went from religion to ISIS. What relation do we have with them? We condemn them. And what connection do they have with God? If someone commits murder or rape, they should be punished. But you have no rational, strong foundation for morality. You said the majority decides. So Hitler becomes right? No, no, not society. The planet's majority. Fine, the planet's majority believes God exists. You say religion is wrong, so you still have no strong foundation for objective morality. If there is any foundation for objective morality, it is only God, God, God. This was Mufti Shamail Nadwi's closing argument. Now, Javed Akhtar Sahib has 5 minutes for his closing argument. Reset the time. Look, there are many things. The definition of God in almost every religion is that He is all powerful, He is present, He is just, He is kind, He loves you, and so on. When I look at the world, I do not see any supreme power working for human welfare, protecting the weak, stopping the oppressor. I don't see it in history either. So if God exists and he is just watching this spectacle, then his existence or non existence is the same. Secondly, when you say the universe is contingent, then you immediately surrender and assume its creator must be thousands of times more complex, and you have no objection to his existence. He is timeless, already there before time, etc. You accept all this without any proof and without reason. And the greatness of religions is what? Their belief in God has constantly been proven wrong over time. If you say people in Aristotle's time were ignorant, well, they were just as confident about God then as believers are today. This belief will also fade. You can write it down. The signs are already visible in the world. Could such a debate have happened openly 100 years ago? We have already brought you this far. Religion is a whole package. No one believes only in God alone, it always comes with a lot of extra baggage. And historically, religion has always created chaos in society. I will say something simple. There are 10 major religious beliefs in the world. You believe in one and reject the other 9. So, in those 9 cases, you think exactly like an atheist. So, a religious person is already 90% atheist. He only believes his God is right and all others are wrong. If you stop believing even in that one, then instead of a 10% chance of being right, you'll at least have a 50% chance you'll gain 40% by becoming an atheist. This belief system is outdated. It is fading. Maybe not in my lifetime, but it will disappear. All these grand metaphysical, philosophical words, these came from people who neither knew physics nor metaphysics, and yet they gave you such ideas. Thank you very much to both speakers. Mufti Sahab is sitting ahead. Please give him the mic. Yes. Tarun, keep your mic with you. You know the camera frame, right? Yes. First of all, congratulations to both. Sir, please introduce yourself. I remember you live in Chicago, America. Please tell us your name. My name is Yasir Nadim Al-Wazdi. Javed, sir, I have a question related to infinite regress. It's a hypothetical scenario. For example, sir, please keep the mic a little closer. Yes. If you are a poet because you had a teacher who was a poet, and that teacher was a poet because he had a teacher who was a poet, and if you keep going backwards in the past like this without stopping anywhere, excuse me, you could never be a poet. But you are a poet. Your poetry exists. That means somewhere you must have stopped. So my question is, do you consider infinite regress of causes a logical fallacy or not? Yes or no? I don't consider it a logical fallacy, but my problem is, since I don't consider it a fallacy, I will continue with this logic, which is not a fallacy. You stop somewhere. You ask, how did this ball form? How did this island form? How did this ocean form? How did this land form? And suddenly you put a stop at God. You don't ask, the creator of these must be more complicated than them. How was he created? You accept that he always existed. So if you accept he always existed, then why is the universe a problem? Then we don't come into existence. Yes, we don't exist. Okay, sir, why don't we exist? I will explain. Please, please. Like I gave the example, your poem would never exist if it always kept going like this. Yes, Mike, please. I think the concept of infinite regress is not clear. Let it be. Let's move on. All right. Please also keep in mind the moderator's role. No, you did. You did. Here is Gauhar Raza Sahib. He also wants to ask a question. Please turn on the mic from below. First, let me say, I am ashamed for the children who were killed in Gaza because it happened while we were here. But I was even more ashamed because I thought Mufti Sahab was justifying it. Absolutely not. You are very wrong. I could be wrong. I am asking questions. I disagree with Javed Bhai. Look, just 1 second, sir. Wait. Please let me finish my point first. If the audience decides, then the moderator is meaningless. My message to all of you is, this debate is between two people on one side, Mufti Sahab, and on the other, Javed Sahab. They have been presenting their arguments for the last hour and a half. You may agree with them or not. My teacher taught me that even when debating face to face, there should be room for disagreement. I respect you a lot, Mr. Gauhar. You have written wonderful scientific books. But my request to everyone is, if you comment on what these people said, there will be no time discipline and no order. Please ask your question. Whatever comes out of the question will come out. I disagree with Javed Sahib, so I am asking Javed Sahib a question. My question is this. Javed Sahib has often used logic to say there is logic in science, but not in religion. I think there is logic in religion too, but the basis of that logic is that you stop, which Javed Sahib has mentioned repeatedly. That is, you stop when you come to the concept of God, and asking questions there is forbidden. So the question is, do you agree that the logic of science is different and the logic of religion is different? Please tell us, sir. Look, there are three things: science, logic, mantic, reasoning, istidlal, and one thing which is faith, iman, belief, akida. I am not a fan of the logic of faith. Please explain it to me with reasoning and moderation. I am ready to accept it. What harm will it do me? But I cannot go to the logic of faith. Akida means you must believe. Don't ask questions. No, you make all kinds of scientific arguments, and then when you reach God's existence, you stop. You surrender. I am not willing to surrender. That's all. Yes. Mufti Sahib is still sitting there. Give him the mic. Brother, you wanted to ask a question, right? Yes. No. Thank you. Your name? Asim Iftar. Asim, please ask your question. Sir Javed, in your closing statement, you said that the future of religion won't last long. But I am seeing a study from Oxford University done in 2011 by 50 academics. They say that faith in God is innate in human nature, included in what we call fitra. And they say anyone who thinks religion will end is mistaken. What do you say about this study? Okay, I do not agree with them. Who are those professors? They must have some data, but what data can they have? Data on the future? They can only have present data. You heard data from 100 years ago, but not for the future. This is their opinion today, and it will continue to be their opinion. Fine. There are many opinions in the world, but I believe that over time, humans become more reasonable and logical. Look at the percentage of non-believers in Western Europe. It is very high. Churches are empty there. Ultimately, humans will not accept any idea, right or wrong, that does not appeal to their mind and logic. They say these must be from Oxford or Cambridge, so what do I care? Their data cannot be about the future. Yes. Deepak, please ask your question. I will come to the backside too. I'll send the mic there for 2-3 years. Yes. Javed Sahib, a question for you. Namaste. Brother, if you want everyone to decide, then 200 people will decide everything. No, sir. Please don't do this. Everyone has a right, sir, but we can only take selected questions. Sir, these are young people too, so let them ask. Brother, you are young, right? They say they are young too. Mufti Sahib, you are young, yes. Ask. Brother, my question is, like theists have social gatherings like Christmas is coming, Holi, Diwali, Eid, what do atheists offer? I want to get out of their shop, but I am not attracted there. What social gatherings do you have? They say religious people from different religions have festivals and celebrations. Now, I will tell you something. There are historians here too. Mr. Doulaji, please tell us if this is true or not. There was a Constantine, a Greek Roman language speaker who lived about 400 years before Christianity came. Later, he decided that he would become a Christian. His entire state would be canceled. In those days, it was like this. The king who chose a religion, the people also followed it because he had become bankrupt, and the rich Christians on the Mediterranean coast, who were merchants, needed money from him. So they said, "Become a Christian." Then he told his minister, "Brother, this is history. Now we will become Christians." The minister said, "Sir, we will become Christians, no problem. But there is one problem. From December 17 to December 25, there is a pagan festival called the Pag Festival, which will be stopped. Since we are becoming Christians, it cannot happen. The children will be very upset, and the public really enjoys it, especially on the 25th, the main day." He said, "Yes, you are right. When was Jesus Christ born?" "Sir, it was in April." "No, cut it out. It is December 25, that is the truth." So Christianity shifted from April to December after 400 years because there was a festival here. Now you can celebrate it comfortably. All these festivals were religious, but every religion needs an entertainment department to run their community. So these religions took these secular festivals. They were seasonal related to crops and farmers. They took these and gave them a religious color. These are not originally from religion. Look at us. We celebrate Eid, we celebrate Diwali, we celebrate Holi, we celebrate Christmas. The biggest Holi festival in Mumbai's film industry happens in our house. The biggest Eid happens in our house. That is our social heritage. It's not like we will throw the baby out with the bathwater. Keep these good things, so don't discard them. Yes, hello. My question is for Nadviji. As you said, God is beyond time, and God is so complex that the human mind cannot understand him, and God has also given free will to earth. So why are you wasting time talking about God? We should be talking about how to improve society. I will answer you now. You said that God does not exist in time. So my question is, as you said, God is very complex. I never said God is complex. Those are your words. The word complex is not suitable for God because complexity applies to objects. God is not an object that you can test in a laboratory and say, "Oh, it's very complex." No, he is not an engine of a car. Philosophically, God is a necessary being, a simple being. You cannot fully know all his wisdom and everything because he is all wise and you are not, and God doesn't have to tell you everything. That was not my question. My question was, since God is so beyond this world that he gave free will to earth, and all of us humans have free will, and what happens in society is decided by us, so we won't decide? We won't decide? No, we won't decide. God exists beyond caste, existence, time, and space, but he is testing us. And that same God has told us what to do and what not to do. So, obviously, we will listen to that God. Behind him, someone with glasses, ma'am. Please give her the mic. Yes, please go ahead. Yes, absolutely. I am trying to cover all sides. Yes, give her the mic. Hello, sir. I am not omnipresent. I am time bound, and I will try as much as I can. Please tell us your name. My name is Ujala. I am a student of Delhi University, and I am from the Student Federation of India. My question is for Mufti Ji. Sitting in this hall, we can philosophically talk about the morality of rape, but the reality is that women go through rape in everyday life. We can not only look at it in numbers, how many women in these countries where you say cases are less, and those who have access to file cases, how many women work and have freedom to work in those countries? Europe has this freedom and rules. So today, we can talk about it. You said that we can philosophically talk about it in a closed room. But what is really happening on the ground is very wrong. I agree? Very wrong. And we have to stop what is wrong. Why do we have to stop it? Why is it wrong? We have an objective foundation for this. They do not have that objective foundation. I want to say that wherever injustice happens, wherever a woman is wronged or her dignity is taken away or she is hurt, and not just women, but anyone is wronged, standing against that is morality, and morality comes from God. Otherwise, Javed Sahib is saying that the majority will decide, but the majority can always change. Are you a little mistaken? If my sentence implied that, or if I said that, I take that back. I did not mean that the majority decides. If the majority decides, then in the world, you had said this sentence. I am agreeing. We will recap later. 1 second, I am giving my explanation. The reasonable thing is that all of us know in our hearts what is good and what is bad. Even those who do bad things know what is good. That was the question of the prophet. Then, where did this morality come from? Cross-examination. Yes, morality comes from the desire to live together. That means living together, what is said and done will happen. Otherwise, you can only live lawlessly if there is no morality among people. Otherwise, chaos will happen. How do you know this? We have seen that where morality was established, we see how work happens in the world. If something is wrong, this debate is about epistemology. I am talking about ontology. I will try to get these two people a tea, and you do cross-examination there. Right now, you are depriving the audience of their right. You are just people, and these brothers will come here and there. Sir, my name is Lakul Rahman. I am a student of Aligarh Muslim University. As far as I know, sir, you are also a product of Aligarh Muslim University. I am also from that garden's bloom. Yes, sir. I am very happy to meet you. Sir, my question is that Sayyid Ali Rama's view was that God's existence should be sought within the limits of reason and not completely denied. Sir, how will you define it? No, you tell them this. The question is whether God's existence can be proven. Sir, you have denied it. That is why I have this question. He said, sir, that reason cannot prove God's existence. He said that, right? No. He said it can be proved, and it has been proved today. Seeking or proving, it has nothing to do with intellect. Hey, just listen to the question. It cannot be done by intellect. Didn't you say that? It can be done by intellect. No, that's what they are saying, brother. You are saying it can be. That's a different question. Sir, look, take the youth, such an amazing university. Hey, brother, listen to me. Speak on the mic so that millions of people watching can hear you. Give him the mic. Yes, they will give it. Wait, yes, sir. My question was, Sir, Sayyid al-Rama had a view that the existence of God should be sought within the realm of intellect, not completely denied. That was his concept. But my question is, how do you define this? How would you explain it? I want to know from you. You are a product of Aligarh Muslim University. I searched within the bounds of intellect but did not find it. Yes, put those glasses on. Give it to them. Yes, quickly ask your question. There are only 5 minutes left. 5 minutes, and we are done. Yes. Assalamu alaikum Mufti Sahab. And my question is for Javed Akhtar Sahab. What is your name? Hey, brother, you are asking me? Faiz. Faiz. Ask Faiz Sahab. So, my question is, currently atheists are using the problem of evil argument against Muslims, right? That there is so much evil in this world, so the argument goes against Muslims or against theists. Yes, please correct that a little, brother. The whole effort was to not pin the discussion on any one religion. Yes. So basically, the argument is that so much evil exists in this world, and if there is an all good God, why doesn't he stop it? But this question contains a hidden assumption that evil exists in this world. Now, how can atheists ontologically prove that evil exists in this world? Let me explain a little. No, no, sir, you all listen to them. No, please don't. No. I want to explain ontological. No, no. We understood, sir. Let them answer. Okay. Ask your question. What was it till now? Let me add a bit. You're the guru. When we do round 13 of this debate, we'll have you on stage. Yes, yes. So quickly. Look, according to atheism, everything came about randomly. Everything is atoms and molecules. The only difference between a stone and me is that we have a different arrangement of atoms and molecules. Now, if someone cuts a stone into 2 pieces with a sword, or cuts me according to atheism, it is the same. There is no good or evil according to atheism. Yes, yes. Fai Sahab's question is that even if we try, we cannot ask the wrong question. There is a life form, and in the life form are feelings, meaning a life form can hear, see, taste, feel. So, this quality that emerged in this bubble is found in animals and humans. So, obviously, if it suffers some pain, because it has sensitivity, it will feel pain. A stone doesn't have that sensitivity. So, what kind of question is it that if a stone is cut, it doesn't feel pain? So, why would you feel pain if cut? Please sit down. Yes. Next question. Yes. Please ask. Javed Akhtar Sahab, hey brother, why is everyone ignoring Mufti Sahab? Are you all after me? Come on, speak, brother. You ask, how can God exist when children die in Kashmir? Yes? You asked how God can exist when children die in Kashmir, and you also mentioned the rise of atheism in Europe. But the same events are leading many atheists and non-believers to turn toward faith. How do you interpret this contradiction where suffering pushes some away from God, yet brings others closer to belief. Let me tell you something. The world is nowhere perfect. Everywhere there are flaws, son. 1 minute I will tell you, look, flaws, weaknesses, faults are everywhere. But if you look honestly, where is the world the most just? Where does the average citizen have rights? Where can they speak? Work as they please? Give their opinion? Speak against the government? Speak against those in power? Speak against capitalists? You will find this in Scandinavian countries, Western Europe. I am not saying they are perfect, absolutely not. There are many faults there. No one is perfect. But in countries like Latin America or the Gulf, you will find that rapes probably don't happen. What's the need for rape? You can just buy her and keep her at home. What's the need to rape on the streets? But listen, listen, listen. The reality is, a person does not have the freedom to express opinions or speak. Yes, one last question to Mufti Sahab. Yes, ma'am. Give her the mic. Thank you. My name is Manisha. I am from Haryana. I want to ask Mufti Sahab something. You keep contradicting Javed Sahab, saying he said this and that, but you are also speaking based on assumptions. What proof have you presented of God's existence? Now, let this question remain separate. Who is atheist? Who isn't? And another thing you said briefly, that humans use free will. But the use of free will means God has given everyone permission to use it, including how much wickedness and evil they can commit. People, listen, do you believe in free will or not? You believe, right? So now you have no explanation for if a person uses free will to do bad things and gets away living a good life, there is no recompense for them. In our worldview, the person who does wrong will also face recompense, meaning they will get their just deserts, and the one who does right will get their just reward. So free will is given for a limited time by God. It is not that you have free reign to do whatever forever. When the time of the exam ends, results will come. During the exam, no one will forcefully tell you, "Hey, brother, one question to Mufti Sahab, ma'am." Mufti Sahab, wait 1 second. I have only one question. If what is happening is by free will, and one day on the day of judgment there will be justice in the hereafter, etc., then why do people pray? People pray because it means there is still a department where I can interview in daily life. You can get me a job, you can get my son a green card, and 45,000 children die. You don't stop that? No. So, are you saying that tyrants never get caught in this world? Whatever catching happens, children cry. Absolutely. Look, I said in my opening statement that, Brother Javed Sahab, this is just an emotional argument. This is an emotional argument. The reason behind it, did I explain? The wisdom behind it? I did. I am calling you all gentlemen so that you are conscious and keep order. Time was fixed. This time is over. You all listened so patiently. I thank you very much. If these two scholars wish, we can have round 2, round 3 of this conversation. This is the beauty of humans, that they engage in debate and discourse. You all showed great patience. Thank you very much. With that, this conversation ends here. Now, Mufti Sahab and the senior Mufti and I will go eat together. Very nice. From where?